Keep playing around with this idea of the express services. Right now, this is a hard-coded URL. If you send it hello, it just responds with just a plain old hello world, right? But we can extend this a little further, and for instance, pass in a parameter, right? By saying maybe that if it says hello and in some message, right? We can parse out the request of that message. Very much like in Java, we were using at a path variable, right? That we were able to retrieve things from the path. Similarly, we can do the same thing. This is a URL pattern that starts with hello, but ends with something else, right? With some placeholder. And notice that it has a colon in front of it, saying that this is not the literal strings message. It's a variable, right, that is going to be parsed and is going to create a map of all the path parameters that you might have in there. This is going to create an object map that will be passed to us as part of the request. Right, so since this is a URL that is coming from the request, that map lives in the request. Okay. So for instance, we can retrieve the message, right, from the request.params and then parse out the message, right? And now we have a message, and then we can respond. We can say send back hello, and then the message. Okay. So if we restart the server and go back here and bring this over here, and we say hello, hello Alice. Right, this comes back with hello Alice. Right, so parsing the Alice on the end there. Make sense? Right, so very much like you would with path parameters, you would do the same thing here. Notice that it's much less verbose. Right, everything is much more compact. Right, it's easy to just generate these services. Now, typically, the server.js file, you wouldn't declare things directly on the server.js file. Instead, you might want to make this available elsewhere, right, in a dedicated file, right, that handles all our hello actions, right? So let's do that. We'd like to be able to make this available elsewhere. So, for instance, in our hello.js file, instead of just doing a console hello, right, what we can do is declare declare a module, right, and declare here a function, right, where internally we can declare all these apps. We can declare all these, right? So we can cut these out from here and move them elsewhere so that we can reuse it, right? Because this could extend. It can have 10 of these URLs, right? Later on, we will use the same technique to have a service that handles courses, one handle that quizzes, another one that handles assignments, right? And all the services that go along with manipulating that particular data model. Okay. So here's hello, and the only thing that we would need here for this to be usable is that we need this app here, right? That is nowhere to be found in this file. What we can do is just pass around this app. We can pass around that app as an argument, so that from server we can require a hello. Okay. So what is that hello now? That hello is really what? It's this function that is being exported. Right. This syntax, the module.exports, right, is a node's technique for creating reusable modules that can be imported from somewhere else. Right. So you can declare here tons of functionality, algorithms. None of it would be available unless you do a module.exports in it. Right. In this case, what we're exporting is a function. Right. We're exporting a function. You can export a single variable. You can export a JSON object. You can export whatever you want. Right. Whatever you say module.exports equal, whatever that is, right, is what it's accessible in the require. Right. So right now it's this function, and this function is now bound to the hello variable here. You see that? So hello is really a function now. See that? So I can call it. I can call it and pass it my app, right? Because that function is expecting a variable, right? An argument, in this case app, which is going to do it. Is going to use it for what? It's going to use it to declare all those getters, right? All those get URLs. Right, so if I do that and refresh and restart the server. Now, starting from the command line is a bad practice, so I don't want to see you do that. Don't start it from the command line. If you come to ask me for help, do not show me that you're starting your node from your command line. Okay. Instead, declare here a where's my configurations, and create a Node.js. I don't have Node.js. Why don't I have Node.js? They never installed it here. Let me quit IntelliJ and bring up WebStorm. Close this project, and I'm going to open the same. Let's see, it's webdev 2019, Spring, and Node. It's that one, right? There we go. So we have the same content, but this is web specific. So here I should have Node. Okay, I have Node. So from Node, create a server or whatever you want to call it, and it's going to run it from here, Node, and the file that we're going to execute is that server. So there's our server, and once I include that server, we're going to run it from the command line, from the as executable. What this allows you to do is put breakpoints. So you can step through the server, right? If an incoming request comes in, and you can see the variables that make sure that everything's working fine. So if we run it as in debug mode, now it's listening to a port, and we can hit it. We can say, notice that I refresh that page, right? And now I'm in the server, and I can look at params. Params is the map that comes in. Notice that message is in there. I can see the incoming request. So certainly this allows you to debug the server, right, and step through everything and find any issues. If you come to me and run it from the command line, I know you will not have been debugging appropriately, right? And that you should put a little more effort at trying to do this yourself, right? Anyway, so let's cancel. Let's continue, and it generates the same results. Everybody okay? All right.